if you were told 20 years ago that you can sit at the corner of your house and, with just a few clicks on your phone, you get a driver to come pick you up, somebody that you don't know, you've never met before, probably coming to take you to maybe an event or so, you wouldn't have believed it, I know. But now, today, this is like the norm. You just see it. Even with your car, you don't want to go out with your car, you just get in. You do Uber, you do Bolt, and all the likes. So the advent of gig economy, it has come to stay and it has become a very significant part of our day-to-day lives. Today on the articles, we are going to be talking about the gig economy, looking at the pros and the cons, and how to navigate the tides. Is it a good thing? Is it something we should embrace? Definitely, it's here. Whether we are embracing it or not, it's just here to stay, I believe. But we just want to share opinions with you and then with our guest on the show today. Welcome to the articles. And on this episode, I have with me in the room our delectable, we call her Mrs. I, right? HR expert par excellence, right? Of many years of experience. We have Mrs. I in the building. Welcome, Mrs. I. They are going to introduce themselves very shortly. And then again, we have Dr. Tafa. Dr. Tafa is one of the top when it talks about business and business consultant in Nigeria as of today, and even outside Nigeria, has consulted for government, consulted for institutions and the likes. So we have them here today, and we are so glad, because for me personally, I feel like a lot of gems are going to be dropping right here today, and just stay tuned, and we'll be right back. After we come back, they're going to introduce themselves, then we'll get right into it. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the articles, and right now we're just going to go straight into it. Now to Mrs. I. Thank you for coming. We are so happy to have you here. Please, can we meet you, a bit of yourself?
Thank you. And lovely to be here. Thank you for having me over.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
My name is Olukemi Ifekoya. Been doing it since 2008. Typical, professional career story. Start with the grunt work, do all the difficult stuff, and then you grow into, more interesting responsibilities that then require you to think and all that. Started my career in a multinational in HR, and now I'm in an indigenous company. So you could say, I'm seeing the other side of the divide when it comes to HR.
Interesting. Okay, that's quite interesting and quite a long time. Quite massive worth of experience. So, over to you, Dr. Tafa.
Yeah, my name is Manuel Tarfa. I management consulting. We share the same timeline, 2008. I mean, even though she started working earlier, but at least done management consulting for since 2008, so about 16 years too.
Okay. Interesting. So we are in for a good time, I believe. All right. So my first maybe contemplation I will call it, or maybe not question really. There's this thing about it's the in thing right now. Looks like everybody prefers to work for themselves. Right? Even though I personally, it's my opinion anyways. So I personally feel like even if you are working for yourself, you are self-employed, you are still employed. Anybody who is giving you a job to do, trying to get your service done, they are your employers. Probably you don't have a permanent contract kind of, so you do and then you move. So you are still employed by someone, because sometimes they get you to do what you naturally would not want to do because they have your money with them. So you are still employed. So that's my own perception about this self-employed. It's just a little, a thin line between employed by a company and then working for yourself. Right. But now, here's the thing. Like for the past 5 years thereabout now, we have the, especially in Nigeria now, it's becoming a thing and a global phenomenon, talking about gig economy and then freelancing, right? And a lot of people now, I'm a freelancer, I'm free, I can do whatever I want to do at my time, at my pace, and my sanity is important and all of those things. So what do you think about the gig economy? Do you think it's something that we should really, really pay attention to and embrace it fully, or you think we should tread carefully right? Tread carefully in the sense that, do you think there are dangers here and there, or you think it's just something that is good and it's the future of work and we just, we flow with the tide? What are your thoughts?
Okay. First, when you were speaking, what came to mind is we did a recent graduate trainee sort of advert to invite candidates to apply. And interestingly, we got 5,000 applications, so over 5,000 applications.
Really?
So that data says to me that there are people out there that, are still considering the stability of, being in the regular workforce.
Okay.
However, the gig economy, speaking to things like Uber and all of that, we have seen a change in our quality of lives, because these services are comfortable. So there's definitely good in there. But what is important is that we're putting structures, first as individuals, around our interaction with the gig economy, and also as a society. And I say that in terms of, like our labor laws and all of that. Our labor laws today do not speak to that kind of employment. So we really do need to start thinking of that. That's more long term. But as an individual, the way Nigeria is, your government almost. You've also got to start to build structures and plans around it. What do I want from this? If I am getting into the gig economy, what are my plans around it?
Okay.
What are the timelines I'm putting in it? How do I protect my future and myself?
Okay.
When I interact with this gig economy. And we do see people who have been in the gig economy and are moving into the more stable employment. And we see vice versa as well.
Okay.
People wanting to go do gig economy because they have young children, they have other commitments and all of that. It's here. What's important is how we walk around it, and get the best out of it, both ways, for the community, the society,
Okay.
and for individuals as well.
Okay, so it's not necessarily something we should say we should not, embrace, or we should embrace, but it is about the approach, the way we go around it, the systems you are building around your entry into the gig economy. Okay, we are still going to come into that a bit more in depth, but before we get there, I want to ask Dr. Tafa very quickly. So, if I'm to ask you as a young person, and a young person walks up to you, say, I'm just done with school. I'm a creative and all of that. So, how would you advise the person? There is this gig economy part of things, and then there's a corporate too telling me, okay, you can start you on 400K, but then you have to come to the office 5 times a week. Sometimes you work on Saturdays, right? But of course, you have your bonuses and all of that. But this is a gig economy. I know that my skill is in high demand, and I can make that 400 ground maybe in 2 weeks. But sometimes it might not be all stable. But how would you advise me as a young person?
All right. So the way society has, and I'm speaking very, like, it's my own personal theory. It's not like some proven theory or some law in life or philosophy. But I feel like societies thrive around structure, and the only reason why China can manage 1 billion people because there has to be structure. So if you're a young person, based on the premise you gave, then I would advise you get a bit of corporate experience. There is a discipline and structure that comes with corporate experience. I can give you other institutions that reflect structure. Defense, that's the Navy. There were always pirates on the road, in these high seas at that time, who were used for certain things. But when it needs to managing a country and defending it, we need the military, you need soldiers. And you can see the discipline that is reflected in the military. It reorientates and changes the minds of people. The reason why we're starting out in a good organization, if you have the option, is that it implants in you a DNA for success in a very unique way. I'm not saying you can't be successful as a gig economy person, but
Okay.
there is a discipline, there is respect for certain things. There's so many things you would learn. And I personally, you can call me old school, but I'm not sure I'm going to disregard the time and effort it takes to train people. The reason why we're on this platform now talking very I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, is that we've been taught certain things that we know and understand. And these things have been proven over time in life. They're just things to deal with. Now, for the people in gig economy, it may look cool and fine when you're young. But like I was telling her offline, we have not really lived out the full implications of what it is to run a gig economy. So we are still experimenting. And unfortunately, we don't have enough sociologists already doing studies on it to show us to help people project or predict what their lives will look like. So we don't just want to wake up tomorrow and realize that I made a fatal life error. I should not have taken this path. I should have taken the other path. These are some of the dynamics that I would say will impact that decision. So if the person has a choice, please get corporate experience. Corporate people are not stupid. I mean, they know what they know what they. I mean, they're just the way we do things. They have the problem bureaucracy and a couple of other things that I know that are unreasonable. Taking time to make decisions. That's fine. But even as a gig economy, when you start to grow and hire, and also you can't always walk long. When you get to 40, 50, you can't exert that type of effort and energy that someone in their 20s would. And then, like she said, if that structure is not in place. So not to sound like, a bad news guy, but I feel like if you had the option, take it. While you're waiting if you're among the 5,000, they didn't hire you, then I think you should go ahead. You should go ahead and
Okay, so I have a concern or a question somewhere in the middle, in between what you're saying. Now you're talking about the systems and structures, that you get to, get exposed to in the corporate space. So what if all these things, the systems and the structures, I can go on YouTube, my own data, my internet, and I sit on a course for 3 months, for 4 months, and I'm training myself. I understand the corporate culture, ethics, and all of that. I understand your language when I'm sending email to clients and all of that. So if I should do that, am I not going to be able to still match up with what I'm supposed to get within the corporate, environment?
is that for me or for her?
I'm coming back to you in that sense, and she can attend.
I know remember you gave me a premise, and I listened carefully. The premise was if you had a choice.
Yes,
So if you have a choice, you can't stay idle. So I encourage you to please start your gig, whatever you need to do, just get busy. Even if it's Michael Beat, MB, there's gig, GGV. Just get busy. But if you had the choice, you get that corporate experience. Corporate experience will change your perspective. That's why people that go to graduation programs, they turn out differently. There's just structure, process, and systems. One thing people don't understand about structure is that there is, I wish I had time to explain it to you physically, but
you have to try and you can explain.
So structure is perfection. What do you mean by that? Let's give you this example. There are 3 scenarios. Let's say it's her, me, and you. Let's say she is making tea. Are you following me?
Okay.
She's making tea. I told her to make tea.
Okay.
You are standing outside and you're looking at the direction. I said they're preparing to entertain guests. That's you. You're not part of us, but you analyze and say, Deborah. So what it means is that she talked about thinking. That's the level of thinking. You are the one thinking about it. So when you know that we're trying to prepare for guests, I gave this what she's doing. She doesn't even know. I just said, but you stood behind.
Okay.
Corporate people, it will teach you how to stay at the highest level of abstraction. So you hear that a lot. Meaning you can interpret the dynamic society because you're not buried in, and for as long as the world is ruled by corporates, you can also be part of the hierarchy. There's certain levels, government, the relationships you build. You can't. Do you get my point?
Yeah.
As long as society, except people now, we're not a different political system. But if there's around how far you want to go, is the place corporates will take you. That's why some of these big universities in the world are still very relevant. It's just depending on how far you're going. But like I said, we don't really know. We're still experimenting. So that's my answer. My answer is, I told you, I don't know. I believe you understood my argument.